What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It is me, Nevoani, and today I'm gonna show you how to make professional progressive house drops. Okay, so I have opened up one of my recent progressive house drops project, and I'm gonna show you basically the process of how I made it and why I choose to do everything small with it. In other words, this is the video I wish I had when I started producing music. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Okay, so I'm gonna just play you the project and show you what it sounds like now. This drop is as fresh as my trim.
Like you cut, G.
Remember, as always, guys, this project is gonna be for free. All I ask from you guys is a quick like, that would support me a lot, and a follow on my Instagram right here. Did you like the video? No? I'm waiting. Okay, it's fine with me. I can wait all day. Also, I forgot to tell you guys, make sure you stay to the end of the video because I have a very special announcement that I'm gonna be talking about in the end of the video. Happy watching. Okay, let's begin. When I make progressive house songs, or any song in general, as you've seen in my previous videos, I start with writing a melody. And I wrote this simple kind of melody. Okay, so this melody is in the key of D minor. D minor is always good for progressive house, in my opinion. And yeah, basic stuff. Chords. These are the chords. Basic stuff. Loops again. Just, there's no difference actually. And the melody is pretty simple, but catchy. That's the thing in progressive house. Okay, so after that I add the kick. You see, for progressive house, it's recommended that you use short kicks. You see how short the tail is? That's the goal, because the bass line is gonna fill that, missing end in the kick, and that's what makes the progressive kind of groove. Okay, so I'm gonna break down the leads first. Okay, I'm gonna show you my sound selection and why I chose each sound. This is the lead. Basic stuff, again, copying the melody, just using leads. Okay, so these are the layers. This is the first one. Okay, so in progressive house, if you want to achieve that Matisse and Sadko / Manse, I don't know how you spell his name, vibe, you need to use strings as one of your leads. And this sound in silent is, it sounds like a string. So yeah, I use this sound. I usually, stereo widen these sounds because they are meant to be in the background. You can see it's very wide. It's not. One important thing though in layering is you need to choose your main lead. In this case, this lead is definitely not the main lead. I can tell you that. So yeah, I just put a doubler from waves, which basically duplicates the sound and pans one to maximum right, pans one maximum left. That's basically it. I didn't, put some EQ complex stuff. So the second lead is like this. Also a wide one. So this effect, I explain it a lot in my videos. Basically using full mix reverb with short decay smoothens up the sound a lot. You can achieve great results with it. If I play you the sound without the reverb, it sounds like this. You can hear the, harshness of this sound. So when you apply reverb with full max and no decay at all, it sounds like this. It sounds more like a string again. So when you play these two, they sound like this. Okay, so basic stuff again, and yeah, it's important to mention that the second sound I just moved it a bit. Don't ask me why, but I don't know how to explain this. It's just basic progressive house groove. In progressive house, there is this kind of, offbeat kind of groove, if you know what I mean. I don't know how to explain feelings. It's like a feeling. You feel a groove. I don't know how to put it in words, but you just pen it a bit, not too much, okay? And it creates that, that offbeat kind of organic lead, if I can put it in words. So yeah, that's the second lead. Now the third lead is one of the main ones. Sounds like this. Again, EQ, basically reducing the mids a bit, around 2k hertz, also reducing there. And yeah, as you can see, this lead and this lead, one is panned to the left and one is panned to the right. And that is a very important aspect in layering, which is basically panning stuff. In order to achieve a wide mix, a full mix, you need to pan stuff. You just can't stack everything in the center and expect it, to sound good. Another important rule in layering, which is basically using sounds that sound different and don't sound similar 100%, if you know what I mean. Like, for example, you can hear this one and this one. Everyone sounds different in its own way, and that's good. So yeah, and here's the main lead, which is this. Okay, so as you can see, this lead is kind of attacky and it's in the middle. I didn't pan it, I didn't stereo widen it, I didn't do sorry YouTube. Just basic EQ, lower the mids again, because I don't know why, but when I make music, my mix always tends to get muddy, so I try to lower the mids always. Okay, so yeah, I just lowered the mids and put a transient processor on it. What the transient processor basically does is you can control the transients of the sound. Well, Nevoani, explain what is a transient. A transient basically is a attack, decay, sustain, and release, which is basically ADSR. If you see this term a lot, that's what it means. You can basically, with transient processors, you can control these transients, put how much attack you want, maybe decrease the release, increase the release. You can play with it. So here I increase the attack to achieve a more clicky lead, like this. So yeah, all the leads together play like this. Okay, and if you think that's all the processing, you're wrong. In progressive house, it is crucial, and I mean crucial, to route leads and chords and bass lines into buses. And what buses are basically, you see these 4 leads, you see this green cable right here, you see how it is routed to this lead bus. Routing basically like a mixer, like a physical mixer, analog mixer, you can route channels to certain channels. So in this case, I routed channel 1 to 4, all these, to this channel 100, which basically I can control them all together like this, as you can see. So why routing to buses is important in progressive house specifically, because when you route to a bus and process all of the sounds as one sound, it glues the sounds together and treats them as if they are one sound. So yeah, here I added a popular effect that everyone uses on leads in general, which is called sidechaining reverb. What sidechaining reverb is, it is basically whenever the lead hits, you see how the mix knob lowers. Why sidechaining reverb is important? Because that way the reverb don't interfere with the leads. So you have a cleaner mix, or a cleaner reverb, I would say. As you can see, it's very clean. It doesn't interfere with the lead. And secondly, we added a delay. And I added one more reverb with the same effect as I explained earlier, which is basically lowering the decay and increasing the mix, which gives it a smoother sound. Without it, it sounds more harsh. I wanted to smoothen it out a bit, and a final EQ to the leads to make them sound as good and as clean as possible. And of course, a sidechain. Now, in my opinion, don't attack me on this, but I think you should not sidechain the leads in progressive house specifically fully. You need just to sidechain them, not all the way. You need to have some attack in the leads. That gives it that, that Martin Garrix style of groove, which is needed in progressive house. Okay, so yeah, that is basically it about the leads. I explained every single thing I made. There is not single thing that is hidden here. I don't have any secret tricks or some magical stuff. Basic mixing, that's it. So yeah, moving on to the chords. The chords sound like this. Okay, so let's explain it. This is the first layer. Again, as I explained in the leads, each lead, I have a wide lead that fills up the back end of the leads. Same here. I have a wide chord progression like this one. So I put a wider. This is a free plugin, by the way. Just search wider in Google, VST by Infected Mushroom, and download it. It's a great tool. A simple EQ and a sidechain. In chords, you need to sidechain it all the way because it has lower frequencies and you don't want them to interfere with the kick. Not very low frequencies, like low mids, and they can interfere with the kick. So yeah, that's the first layer, basic stuff. Second layer is like this. This is the groovy chord, and you need that always in progressive house because it gives that that progressive feeling, like techno music, old progressive house music, all have that rolling sound which gives it energy. So this rolling is coming from this LFO and this preset specifically. You see, I didn't do external effects. The preset itself sounds like this, and some basic EQing, maybe some widening, stereo widening, because chords in general don't need to be in the middle. They just are fillers for the drop, if you know what I mean. And this sidechain, if you ask me why I used this sidechain, because I didn't want a short sidechain. I wanted a sidechain that kind of plays in the middle and makes it very groovy like this. If I turn it off, see, it sounds kind of too much in your face. This is more controlled in my opinion. See, it gives that progressive house vibe. And the last one is basically very simple. Again, this one is supposed to be in the middle. It doesn't have any stereo plugins. Distortion, reverb, the smoothing effect that I use always. It's very good for progressive house. I recommend it. You can do this on any reverb, by the way, not specifically Valhalla Room. And yeah, I definitely didn't steal this plugin. FBI, open up! Basic EQing, again lowering the mids, because in progressive house you can get muddy very easily because most of the sounds have a lot of mids, okay? So yeah, and again, all these are routed to a chord bus, which all have one big side chain, which makes them as one sound again, and a OTT because OTT is live, and Valhalla Room with a little bit of reverb. No side chaining for this one because this sound is not very important as the leads. It is kind of in the background again, and a small dip in the mids. So that's the chords again, and finally we come to the fun part, and it is the bass line. Okay, so the bass line consists of 4 bass lines, as you can see. There's the sub bass line. The sub bass line is very important actually in progressive house, obviously, because you need it in the right range. And what I mean in the right range, basically, if you lower it 1 octave, see, it's very low. A lot of producers hear this as very high and they want something lower, and they lower it and it's very low. There are some keys in my experience that I found so problematic in progressive house in general, which C till D. C, C sharp, D are very problematic in bass lines, and B, A sharp maybe. Those notes for bass lines are either very low or either very high, if you know what I mean. So from D sharp, I think it sounds good in while it's being low. See here, it sounds better. You need headphones to hear this, by the way. So yeah, if you use D, C sharp, C, or B or A sharp, I recommend it being in the highs, like in the high octave, not in the low octave, because it will sound weak and it's too low. So this one sounds like this. You can see also here it's very high. It's not here, it's here. The perfect key for bass lines is G, no doubt, no question. It's very perfect. It's right in the middle. Let's not get off topic here. I added a R bass, which, you know, thickens up the bass or distorts the bass more. Camel crusher, and, you know, a high cut on 100 Hertz with a sidechain. I made a strong sidechain because it, you know, I want it to integrate with the kick smoothly. So far, guys, if you're enjoying this video, make sure again you drop a like and subscribe for more videos like this. Now back to the video. Okay, so the second bass line sounds like this. A lot of EQing, a stereo widening effect, and a very heavy sidechain. As I explained earlier, it adds more groove. It adds that bass progressive house groove. And we have this, another wide bass line. So you can see I panned this one to the right and the second one to the left. You can see also widening stuff, another EQ, and the same sidechain almost. And finally we have the rolling bass line, pretty much as in the chords section where I showed you there was this rolling chord, also right here. You can see I added LFO tool for this groove. If I turn off LFO tool, it sounds like this. Now it sounds like this with LFO tool. You know, basic camel crusher and a dip in the mids. Of course, it's very important when talking about mid basses to low cut them at, you know, 100 Hertz or something. And yeah, basically remove the lows because the sub bass is taking that and you don't want both sounds to interfere. So yeah, that's basically it on the bass line. With the bass line, all in all, they sound like this. Okay, so I've covered all the basic components in the drop. Now let's focus on, you know, the structure of the drop and the build-up. And yeah, so the drop sounds like this again. Okay, so what can you do in order to make the drop sound bigger? First of all, there's the kick. And the first thing I do on progressive house drop is add claps. Claps are, in my opinion, crucial. Crucial, very important. C-R-U-C-I-A-L. You see? You add claps and you lower them so much, like this, with the leads. They add this white noise and that crowd effect, if you know what I mean. And yeah, basically, basic stuff. Just add claps to add more groove, to add that Matisse-Sadko effect. Add some various fills, you know, some stuff to make the track sound more professional. Snares. And a lot of white noise like this. This reverb claps can help a lot. Sidechain it if you want more groove. Transitions. And yeah, basically progressive house drops have a lot of ambient sounds, like these ones here. If you like this one, these things can help a lot in a drop, and it is very important. So that's basically the drop. We have basic fills. And basically the second part it's basically like the first part along with the rides. This adds more continuousness to the drop, if that's a word. And yeah. The drop is pretty much done. You've seen it here first. And yeah, now I'm gonna explain the build-up. Basic ambient sounds. Build-up from Daddy Kashmir. And of course, high cutted lead, filtered leads, because progressive house, and build up chords. You know the drill. Another build up from Daddy Kashmir, and the chords. This is without the filters. It is not filtered, and I just repeated it here and added a pitch automation. Now if you ask me, Nevo, how did you increase the pitch without shortening or playing with the time of the sample? You just basically put it in stretch mode and play with the pitch. As you can see, it is maintaining its length. You know, reverse sound, and the fill right here. And that's basically the drop. I made this like in what? And let's see. I made this in 2 hours and 2 hours and a half. That's nothing to a progressive house tracks, because progressive house tracks take a lot of time, and that's why I stopped making them, because they're wasting my time. And let's be honest, progressive house is kind of dead. Don't kill me, please. I'm sorry, I spilled the hard truth. If you don't agree, you can dislike and leave the video, in my opinion. And yeah, I'm sorry. That's my opinion. I still love it though. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying it's kind of dead. Oh, I almost forgot. 2 important things. One important trick that you can implement on your own tracks is basically playing with the pitch. This pitch bend right here, as you can see, is very important. You can listen in the leads. There is 10, like, you hear that? And again here, you can see. It's very important. It adds a lot to your drop. A lot. And that's the first trick. And the second thing that I didn't talk about, and yeah, I'm not forgetting that I said in the beginning, it's a very detailed video, and I'm a man of my word. Right here you can see the swing knob, and you can I know you're probably saying,
"Oh, Nevoani, why did you increase this swing? This is not a future house track."
And the answer to that is basically, again, it adds that, latency to the lead, or groove to the lead. I used groove probably like 1,000 times in this video, I know. Okay, wow, that was a very detailed video for a small project. And I'm a fan of those videos because, as I said earlier, and when I was starting out, I wanted those very detailed, videos about music production. And yeah, I'm making it for you guys. I love to give back to the community a lot, because the support has been insane. And yeah, I just love to give stuff for free. That's what I do. Let's say in this moment, you can download this project in the description, this FLP in the description. And yeah, if you want, also you can follow me on Instagram. Let me know if you like them by commenting down below and telling me what video should I do next. When I'm reaching 2K followers on Instagram, I'm gonna give you guys a free sample pack called Nevoani Appreciation Pack, which basically has a lot of cool sounds that I designed and cool sounds that I use. I'm gonna make a detailed video about it in the future when I release it, when I hit 2K followers on Instagram. So what are you waiting for? Just follow me right now, and I appreciate your support so much. It means the world to me. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I will see you in the next video. Take care.